Good morning and hello everyone. Welcome to my home. My name is Jessica Tiarina and this is Jessica's Kitchen, tips, tricks, and hacks. Now, I had promised you guys that we are gonna do some quick, simple recipes the next 3 days to cover some simple tabletop, condiments for a Cinco de Mayo fiesta. And I did a little description on Cinco de Mayo for you guys on the front of the Facebook page, so feel free to take a peruse at that, look at that, see what that is. People seem to think that Cinco de Mayo is kind of like the Mexican Independence Day, like our 4th of July. And in fact, it's not. It's actually September 16th, which is the Mexican independence, and it's not widely celebrated. And even Cinco de Mayo is only celebrated in some parts of Mexico, not everywhere. It's to celebrate the independence of Mexico the Battle of Puebla, which was a long time ago. And in more recent, in like the 30s, it was used to kind of bring about the Mexican culture, the people, how they live, what they eat, how they survive, and kind of acclimate into our existing culture as well. So in celebration and in honor of that, I just want to show you guys some of the things that are usually a staple on my table anytime we eat any sort of Mexican food. And there are a lot of things that go along with that as well. One of tortilla chips' best friends is a Pico de Gallo, along with a guacamole as well. We're gonna do Pico de Gallo today. Pico de Gallo in Spanish means beak of rooster, so rooster's beak. Why? How? No idea. There are lots of wives' tales out there that give a description on why that has come into play and what that means, but I just think it's kind of funny to call it we're eating rooster's beak, even though it's not. Maybe it has something to do with a little bit of the Roma tomatoes and maybe the hot jalapenos. Not clear, don't know. All I know is it's delicious. This is gonna be real quick today, guys, okay? So I'm just gonna show you the ingredients that we're gonna use. So we're just gonna use some Roma tomatoes, okay? I'm gonna make enough for about 2 to 3 people for snacking with chips. If you wanna make a little extra for toppings like tacos or throwing in an omelet, this is a great leftover to put in an omelet if it's been sitting in your fridge for a couple days. Of course, it's best fresh, but those tomatoes will start to kind of wear down a little bit and that acid will start to break down. Everything gets a little bit soft, a little mushy. Just drain out that juice and throw it in an omelet in a couple days. It's wonderful. You can also use it and blend it up and make a blended salsa. But this Pico de Gallo is gonna be chunky. We're gonna remain all of the ingredients intact, just big chunks of it. So we're gonna use Roma tomatoes. This is for about 2 to 3 servings, using as a dip with some chips. And I've already pre-cut and diced about three Roma tomatoes and some cilantro as well. So the recipe itself calls for Roma tomatoes, okay? Those are these guys. If all you grow or all you buy or all you have are beefsteaks or bushel boy, whatever it is that you have, cherry tomatoes on the vine, off the vine, use whatever you got, doesn't matter. Roma tomatoes are used a lot more often in Mexican cooking because they stay very firm. And then you can easily take the seeds out as well and just use that flesh, which is a little bit more strong, stands up a little more sturdy. Not as sweet as some of the other tomatoes. Red onion. I always use red onion in Mexican cooking for pico de gallos and salsas. I use white onion primarily when I'm cooking and making things like carnitas. Doesn't matter. If all you have is a yellow onion, use a yellow onion. If you've got 3 small shallots, use 3 small shallots. Same thing. They all taste kind of like onion. This one's just to bring a little pop of color, and it does have a little bit more of a bite to it usually. The red onions do. People who don't like onions really don't like red onions, especially raw, which I love raw onions on my salads. Lime. We're going to use the juice of about a quarter to a half a lime, depending on how acidic you want it. We're going to use about a quarter to a half of a jalapeno. I have a leftover jalapeno from a recipe I did last week, so I'm going to go ahead and use that. About 2 to 3 garlic cloves, depending on the size of them. I already diced one up that's about that big. I'm going to do one more like that, and I'll put that in here as well. And I'm gonna do one more Roma. So I'll do a total of 4 or 5 Roma tomatoes, a half a jalapeno, 2 garlic cloves, about a quarter of a red onion or more or less if you want. You don't have to add onion. You can add white again, like I said. About a quarter to a half of the juice of a lime. Some cilantro, just a nice handful of cilantro. And you're just going to rough chop that. So you want some kind of bigger leaves in there to get a big bite of it. If you really don't like cilantro, omit the cilantro. That's totally fine. You could use polished parsley if you want. Just use a little bit. And that flavor goes a long way as well. And then I'm going to do some fresh cracked black pepper. And in order to spice it up a little bit, if you don't have jalapeno or any kind of a pepper on hand, use something like a cayenne to give it a little bit of a kick. I'm going to use my carnitas spice blend. Let me see if you guys can see that. The glare is just crazy today. Sorry about that, guys. Doing my best. And we almost got it. Okay. My carnitas spice blend is one of my very first blends that I created. I've used it for quite some time because I do make a lot of carnitas. I do a lot of pork, either in the oven or in a crock pot. This one I have paprika, smoked paprika, cumin, garlic, onion, Mexican oregano, ancho chili, chipotle pepper, orange peel, dried jalapeno, and bay leaves. Now those are all the ingredients that you would use to make a carnitas. I've just put them in dried form now. Even the orange peel, I put quite a bit in there because you usually do about a half a cup to a full cup of orange juice or fresh squeezed orange when you're making carnitas. Kind of that acid and that sweetness brings out that heat and that smoky flavor of the smoked paprika or the chili peppers that you use in there, like I do guajillos and anchos. For the most part. If I don't have those, I use something else. You guys know me. I use whatever I've got on hand. If I'm craving something, I'm going to make it no matter what I have on hand. Sometimes I get really good things and sometimes I get not so great things, but I eat it anyways. Quick rundown again. So, Roma tomatoes, jalapeno peppers, garlic, red onion, a little bit of cracked black pepper, some juice of a lime, some cilantro, some fresh cilantro, and then I'm going to put a little bit of my carnitas spice blend in there as well to kind of give it a little bit of a smoky kick for my cilantro, or for the pico. So like I said, I did already dice up a little bit of tomatoes, Romas, a little bit of cilantro as well. I'm going to go ahead and do that one last Roma. With Romas, I just kind of cut the top off, and you know me, I don't like to waste, so I'm going to cut as much of that around that little stem there as I can. And then that is going to go into my little bag in my freezer for stock of some sort. Vegetable or chicken, whatever I've got. And then I'm just going to take this Roma and I'm going to cut it in half. And I'm going to do what's called de-seeding it. So you're going to take the seeds out. And I'm just going to go around the edge here real gently and just pop that puppy right out. And along with that comes all those seeds. You can leave the seeds in there. You're just going to have a little bit more of a watered down Pico de Gallo. And Pico de Gallo is really meant to be more of a chunky salsa. But like I said, if you want to just throw that into a blender or use a immersion blender, a stick blender, or a food processor, you can turn this into a smooth salsa instead of a chunky pico. Okay, so I'm just going to do that again for this one. And I have quite a big red onion here too, so I'm just going to use a tiny bit of that. Once I cut into it, I'll know whether or not it's going to be a really strong onion. And like I said, I like red onion. I like strong red onion. Maybe not so much if I'm going into some sort of a meeting, but it's never stopped me before. Thanks for joining me, guys. Love seeing you this morning. Good morning, Bill. Good morning, Nicole. Joan, love you guys. Hi, Steve. I miss you guys so much. Bill and Steve, just seeing your names up there brings a tear to my eye. I miss you guys so much. All right, so we're going to do a little bit of red onion here, guys. And like I always say, I have a little bit of what I call my trash bucket with me, no matter where I am and where I'm cutting. And that's actually just going to go into my little Ziploc bag in my freezer for making a vegetable stock. So I cut the non-root end off of the onion first, okay? And then I'm going to cut that onion right down the middle. Use some for later. I'm going to cut it down one more time because I'm only going to use about a quarter of that onion today. And it is a strong onion. It is getting in my eyes and my nostrils already. I'm gonna go ahead and take off that skin. Now when it comes to peeling the skin back on an onion, you guys, peel as much of that onion as you wouldn't eat. Like if it doesn't look good and it doesn't, you know, feel good, then peel up as much as you need to. Like I said, you don't need to throw away that piece. Just put it in a baggie for later for some stock. And then I'm just gonna go ahead and dice up a little of that red onion here, guys. Look at all that, look at that. They're all coming out the same size. All right, that is quite a bit of red onion. So I'm gonna do probably about a 1/4 cup of red onion in there to start. My eyes are watering so badly right now, I can hardly see the cutting board. Woo, what do you guys do when you're trying to chop onions? I know they make those onion goggles that make you look completely ridiculous, but I've heard they work. Usually for me, if I run my hands under cold water, it works. Hi, Kellogg, thanks for joining me. All right, guys, so the pico, we've got some Roma tomatoes. Again, this is a serving for about 2 to 3 people just for eating with it as a dip with some chips. And I'm using about 4 Roma tomatoes, about a 1/4 of a red onion. I'm gonna go ahead and dice up 2 garlic cloves, real fine. Just mince them up. Take that stem off a little bit there. Now, if I was gonna make a more of a liquid salsa, then I wouldn't even bother taking that little stem off the garlic. I would just go ahead and throw it right in the food processor. All right, so there's 1 clove. I already peeled this one, ready to go for you guys. My goal is to try to make these videos for you guys in a shorter time frame than I have. That half-hour mark I feel is getting a little bit too long. I think about 15 minutes is kind of the sweet spot if I can get there. Finding recipes is, woo! Oh man! That's not even the onion, that's the garlic. Okay, that's a spicy garlic. Whew! Off go the glasses. Oh my gosh. Okay, it is highly dangerous to use a sharp object when your eyes are watering and you can't see. So you gotta take a minute. Whew, okay. We're getting back there. Oh my goodness. Okay. Okay, so back to it. Lime juice. This is a little baby lime I had left over from something. I don't even know what I used it for. Maybe one of my marinades I still had left over. So we'll go ahead and start with that little puppy. That one I'm not going to put into the bucket that I put in the freezer for my stock and broth, because I don't really want that rind of that lime in there, because it'll make that broth or stock really bitter, like not like nasty bitter. All right, so you guys can see that there. Look at how colorful that is already, right? So we've got some Romas, some garlic, some cilantro, some red onion in there. Hi, Kate. Thanks for joining me. I'm going to put in some little jalapeno here. I like to leave the seeds in because I like it hotter. Some people don't. Some people say seeds don't matter, that it doesn't make it hotter necessarily. I go both ways because, again, you can have some jalapenos that taste like a green pepper. They don't have any heat to them whatsoever. This one definitely has heat, so I'm going to go ahead and I can smell it. Woo, so we've got spicy garlic, some really strong red onion, and some super hot jalapenos. This is going to be one kick-butt Pico de Gallo today. It's a beautiful day, just perfect for it. We can sit out on the patio, have some chips and pico. Tomorrow, you guys, tune in again at 10 a.m. if you can, if you've got the time. I'm going to do a guacamole from scratch as well. My recipe for guacamole. All right, so I'm going to put the jalapeno in there. That looks delicious. It's so pretty, you guys. And then I'm going to throw in a bunch of cilantro. Okay, I took most of the stems off. There's some in there, that's okay. I'm just going to roughly chop. So that's my rough chop, okay? I'm going to sprinkle that right on top. My, that is just gorgeous. Just gorgeous. Look at all those colors, okay? So we've got almost everything in there. I'm going to do a little crack of black pepper here. I'm going to do a little pinch of my carnitas spice. And again, my carnitas spice has paprika, smoked paprika, garlic, onion, cumin, chipotle pepper, orange peel, little lime zest. It's got a lot of stuff in there, but it's really great. All right, I'm gonna grab a spoon real quick. All right, and I'm gonna go ahead and stir that up and see what that looks like. I'm gonna give it a quick taste. Now you can add a little bit of extra virgin olive oil to this if you want. That is your preference. So my carnitas spice comes two ways. All of my spice blends come two ways. Salt-free or with salt. I always start with the salt-free because then I can control how much salt I'm putting in my food. My spice blends are very high in flavor, very strong in flavor, sorry. With the carnitas spice blend, smoked paprika, my garam masala, fresh toasted herbs and stuff. My Acadian spice blend is real strong and smoky as well. So they don't really need salt for flavor per se, but the salt will bring out the flavors of the other food you're mixing it with. So if you're on a low salt or no salt diet, my spice blends are pretty decent. I am gonna add a little bit of salt just because I know it's gonna need it. Take a quick nibble here. Oh. So the first thing I taste is a little bit of zip from that garlic. That garlic is really strong. A little bit of that jalapeno, and it's just so fresh. And that's it, you guys. It's so fresh. It's so simple. So we've got Roma tomatoes, red onion, garlic, jalapeno, salt, pepper, a little of my carnitas spice, some lime juice, some cilantro, red onion, and that's it. Like if you want, like I said, you can make that a little bit more red onion based. You could add more cilantro. You could add 2 more cloves of garlic for all I care. It just depends on what you like. Oh yeah, just like 1/8 teaspoon of salt, and that's all I needed to kind of make that tomato flavor pop. So that's it, guys. That's the Pico de Gallo. Hopefully that's a really simple, quick recipe for you guys. Cinco de Mayo's coming up soon. Join me again tomorrow, please, at 10 a.m. and I'll do a guacamole recipe. Just as quick, just as simple, almost identical ingredients. And I'm gonna do mine in a very fun way. So I hope to see you guys there. I'll give you some tips and tricks on how to keep that guacamole staying green for quite some time as well. All right, thanks for joining me. Have a wonderful Sunday. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Share this with people you know might like it. I would love that. It helps me out as well. See you tomorrow. Have a great day. I miss everybody. Thanks for joining me. Be safe, be happy, wash your hands, and I'll see you next time. Thank you.